let me finish up. I didn't do something with your last 3 draft picks yesterday when we were breaking down the Eagle draft. So I want to do that. By the way, we're going to go into the NFC and the other teams, and we're going to take a look at the drafts that some of these other teams had in the NFC East. And I heard a lot of people talking about this Trevor Egan kid that you got from Michigan. I think a lot of people have trouble with him because he had 37 starts. He was on the best offensive line in college football. They won the Joe Moore Award. The Joe Moore Award, and I'll tell you who Joe Moore is. Some of you probably know who he is or was. Joe Moore was an offensive line coach that coached at Pitt. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he coached at Notre Dame as well. And he coached Bill Fralick. He coached Jimbo Colvert. He coached Russ Grimm. He coached a ton of guys that was at that Pitt program that would go on. I think even Mark May he coached, and he was truly, probably, in my opinion, the greatest offensive line coach in the history of college football. And that Michigan team won, and he was the captain, this kid Trevor Egan, of that team. I think he's a nasty guy. And personally, I think you're looking at your starter at right guard and Trevor Egan. And you got him in the 5th. Again, a quality pick. I'm sorry. I disagree with people. I saw some people with a D+ grade on the kid. I completely 1,000% disagree. Did you watch him against Penn State and him blowing dudes off the ball? Do you know they didn't throw a pass in that second half? They didn't throw a pass. You know what he basically did, Trevor Egan? I'm going to give it to you the way a player does. He lined up over those Penn State guys, and he said this to them. Hey, you, I'm going to fucking run right over you. Stop me. Ball's coming here. And we're running at you. We're not throwing it. That's a game Harbaugh got suspended. I'm running at you. Penn State had one of the top flight defenses in the country. And they ran that team over for over 300 or maybe even 400 rushing yards in that game. And he was the centerpiece for that. How are you D+ing that? Do you want to know something that happened for the first time in the recent draft? You know where more players were drafted from this year? The Big Ten. It's the first time the Big Ten beat the Southeastern Conference for the most draft picks. I was stunned. You know why? Because of Michigan. Michigan put a ton of guys in the draft because of Harbaugh. And now you've got Jeff Stoutland coaching him. In my opinion, this guy here, Trevor Keegan, is the next Jason Kelce. Fifth round. People have doubts on him. How could you have doubts on a national champion captain? Then he asked the most important question, Sills, then how come he fell to the 5th? There were so many guys in this draft that are so good in the O-line. I told you there were 10 players that had first round grades. 9 went. And there are a ton of guys who were, do you understand? It was like a 93 rating. And it would go down to 89. And the 89th guy would get picked in the 5th round. That shows you how deep that position. In any other draft, Trevor Keegan is probably drafted in the 2nd round. Crazy he fell that far. He's easily a top 100. Absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. So when I hear people talking, well, they're assuming because he went in the 5th round that he has some sort of intangible that's not good. That's not the case. I think you got your starter at right guard here. Do I think Tyler Steen's going to beat him out? Not a chance. Steen's going to be your swing guard. I love this pick. Could be the best pick on the board. You may have found another guy for the next 10 years. I love that pick. I heard all these people talking. What could you possibly know about the evaluation of a position? This was the best offensive line draft in the last 25 years. So if a guy's in the 5th round and he's got an 89 rating and Fuaga had a 93, really? That's preference. 37 starts. Michigan. Played for Harbaugh. What's that mean? Coached hard. Now he goes to the ultimate teacher to take you to the next level. You couldn't ask for a better situation if you're Trevor Keegan. It wasn't the number next to his name, 5th round. It's where he went. Why do you think that kid Becton went to Philly? Because of Jeff Stoutland. He didn't go there because of the Eagles. He went there because of Jeff Stoutland. Saved my career, coach. Keegan is asking him to elevate his career. Spectacular pick. Spectacular pick. Captain of a national championship football team. And you know what you love about him too? You know what I like about that Michigan team? Reminded me of Miami team. Everybody hated him. Everybody hated the coach. Everybody wanted him to lose. And they beat Bama in overtime. They theoretically ended Nick Saban's coaching career. I mean, you had to go through Bama to win the national. Dude, the Bama game was the national title game for Michigan, not the Washington game. The Washington game was cleanup. It was just another game on the schedule. The Alabama game was the national title game. And I think this guy's got an attitude. I completely disagree with anybody's negative assessment. I saw D plus. I saw a D plus rating on him from CBS. Where in the world in his year starting at Michigan did you see D plus? Where did you see that? Xander goes, I'm with you, Sills. I love the pick. That, my friends, is your starting. So you're going to have Trevor Egan, captain of a national championship football team, next to Lane Johnson, helping him, and Jeff Stoutland coaching him. And on the other side, you got the highest paid guard in the league, Landon Dickerson, and Jordan Mailata. I'm jealous. I'm totally jealous. Dude, I really want football. I hate having to wait to the start of my new semester when I'm hey, Crowley. Me too. I get it. I love the pick, man. Hey, listen. Anybody could say, hey, look, people could take a shit on me for taking a crap on the 3rd pick that the Eagles got with that Jalix Hunt. There's a lot of guys that like that pick. How could you like that pick and hate this one? Is it just, you just maybe hate Michigan? A top 15 pick in a prove-it year with the best O-line coach in the league has a lot of upside. Well, I think Sirianni has more on the line than Hurts does, but let's move on. So that Trevor Keegan pick, I'm sorry I didn't do this yesterday. I should have. But I went with the top guys. Then I started doing more due diligence on them. Do you know who said some really great things about Trevor Keegan? I should have got him on today. Randy Cross. Randy goes, how'd that guy go in the 5th? And he and I then deduced it. He goes, it's the best O-line draft in 25 years. Sills, is Lane's replacement coming in next year's draft? Yeah, Denny probably next year. I still think he's got 4 great years if he wants. 3 tops. Get this, in his 4th year, Lane Johnson's still going to be a 94% the best right tackle in the game. There'll probably be 1 guy better or 2 guys better than him. So he can play until he doesn't want to play anymore. Oh, Dave, that's great to hear. Baldy loves him too. I saw even there's a guy on our network that hates him. Or came on our network and hates. Where do you see that? Joe goes, Lane Johnson, Hall of Famer? Absolutely. Probably not first ballot. Kelsey's first ballot. Lane's probably second or third. Okay. Let's go on to Johnny Wilson, wide receiver. Many of you asked me yesterday, and I didn't hit on him. 6'6", FSU. Here's the deal with him. And what makes him an interesting draft pick, they took him in the 6th. You know what makes him interesting? He got better every year he was at Florida State, and he got better and better every year he was there in Tallahassee. He got better and better and better. So what's that mean? The Eagles are looking at him as a late bloomer. You know, sometimes guys, they're better pros. Here, how many people remember Terrell Owens? Or not Terrell Owens. What was the running back for the Broncos that just recently went to the Hall of Fame? How many people remember him at Georgia? How many people remember, what was the guy's name? He just went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Terrell Davis. Do you remember him at all? At Georgia? He was a better pro. So this guy, Johnny Wilson, at 6'6", and I really love what they're doing there at Florida State with the skilled set people. So this pick here, again, 6th-round pick, the Eagles looked at him as a guy who was getting better and better and better. So could he translate that game to the next level here? We'll see. But it's a good pick because it's a 6th-round pick and it's a potential pick. Dylan McMahon. Interesting. I think they're going to play him at center, not guard. I think this is a guy who is in the 6th round here. I think he's going to be Cam Jurgens' backup. He's a tenacious player from NC State. I saw him against the University of Miami. They're going to play him, in my opinion, at center. Because they could swing him over to guard as well. But, this 5th and the 2 6th rounders, I really like them. I don't have a problem with any of these 3 guys here. They're all value picks, and they're good. They all had really good college careers. They were all coached by great people. NC State, Florida State, Michigan. I have no problems at all with these guys. And by the way, I think every one of these guys that I just talked about here, these 3 men, I think they're going to make the team. And I'm not talking about the practice squad. I think he's going to make the team. So, you look at those rounds. Yeah, I think they're going to make the 53-man roster. I really do. I'm just going to say this. I didn't do it yesterday, but this Trevor Keegan kid, he's my favorite pick in the draft for the Eagles. He's my favorite pick. He's your future right guard. may even win it this year. And I disagree with people who say that this was a bad pick. 37 starts, national champion, was on the Joe Moore award winning offensive line, has an asshole attitude. And in my opinion, I think you're looking at your starting right guard. Okay. And if you really think about it and you go back into the draft and you look at the draft and you look at their picks, and now you go down the line here and you take a look at the picks, every single one of these picks all have great value. The Quinton Mitchell, great value. Cooper DeJean, great value. Jalix Hunter, it's the only one I hate. Will Shipley, you didn't stretch yourself out for that. The Smith pick, I see Deebo Samuel here. You guys talked me into it. Value pick. Jeremiah Trotter, like some of you said, Sills upgrading his draft now. From a B-. Am I upgrading it? Yeah. I'll give it a B+. This kid Keegan's going to start. Quinton Mitchell's going to start. DeJean could start. And do I think Trotter could beat out Dean? I have no faith in Dean. I will. I'll upgrade it to a B+. By the way, do I think anybody had an A in addressing all their needs with quality players? I think a few. So I would then put the Eagles in my top 5. Yeah. The more and more I talk to people about Keegan, and I watched him, I voted him like All-American. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I actually think I voted that guy from NC State. I think I voted him on the all ACC team. I know I did Keegan All Big Ten and All-American. Yeah. Yeah, B+. I'm okay with that. Okay? I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's funny here. You know what elevated your draft? Do you know what elevated your draft? You're 5th and 2 6s. Not the top end. I like the center. Wilson is a project. Keegan's a starter. I'm sorry, he's a starter. He's a starter. Don't get too crazy, King Eagle. Don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy, LJ. LJ. LJ, help me out here, LJ. What'd you make of that? We had a guy even on our own network take a shit on that pick. And I've heard by the way, CBS took a shit on it. What do you make of that Trevor Keegan pick? You too, Prince. You too, Bob. Mainstays. Anthony. Joe. By the way, I'm hearing June 1. Bradbury's gone. Bradbury's gone. He's gone. Best pick for the Eagles. I agree with you. Diamond in the rough starter. Yeah. 37 starts, captain of a national title team. Joe Moore Award winner. Come on, man. Coached by Harbaugh. Now he gets Stoutland. It's the best pick in the draft. And he's enormous. Absolutely. Absolutely. B+. I'll amend my draft grade. B+. That Keegan kid's going to start. The safety / corner and Mitchell is going to start. Shipley's going to play. The question will be, will the quarterback find him? Trotter is an outside. He's an outlier. Yeah, me too. LJ. Jalix Hunt was a head scratcher. I know Fangio wanted him, but it was too high. Here's my problem with why I'm down on him and why I'm not down on him. I'm down at the strategy. You really think there were a ton of teams out there that were lining up in line to sit there and look at Jalix Hunter and take him with the 94th pick? Or do you think you could have waited and went into the 5th and 6th and grabbed him with one of those picks? I think he would have been there in 5. And if he wasn't, draft somebody from a Power 5 school. I don't think there were a ton of teams that were lining up to take a kid from Houston Christian. See, now look, what's going to happen with this Jalix Hunt kid is this. He's either going to turn into Hassan Reddick or he's going to be a Mike Mamula. Clearly Fangio pick. He can drop into coverage from the edge. I don't love it. They need pass rushers. Could have got a linebacker. The 3rd round's a high pick, capital, plus the added pressure of playing in Philly. Kid better be mentally strong. Better be productive. That's for sure. And I know that's what you mean. Okay. He better be productive. By the way, Jason Cole, I'm going to ask him. LJ missed this part of the question, because Xander really gave me the topic, and I'm going to ask him. A.J. Brown talking about, and people think that he's a Hall of Famer. Well, there's a ton of Hall of Fame guys trending in that way. There's 5 guys that have better numbers since 2019 with A.J. They're also trending. One of them's got a Super Bowl ring. I think the wide receiver position in the next 6 years is going to be the most difficult position to make the Hall of Fame at. Okay? Dave says Sills is in a self-reflection mode after his kid's graduation. He will himself in a week. A week? It could be the next segment. What do you, a week self-reflecting? Hey, do I look like a guy with a plan? LJ has a long way to go to get there. Still love him, though. And that's kind of where we're going to go. Like here. Since 2019, here are your wide receivers. Tyreek Hill, 6,884. 494 catches, 51 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 424, 6,584, 56 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 508, 6502, 43 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 379, 5,947, 42 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 392, 58, 99, 30 touchdowns. And then we mentioned Cooper Kupp, who's a Super Bowl MVP at 5,600. There's a ton of guys that are trending to be Hall of Famers. Trending that way. All right, I got to take a timeout because we're going to get Jason Cole on here in a second here, and he's a Hall of Fame voter. I think that position is the toughest position to make the Hall of Fame. Guy who votes on it. And by the way, I want to make it clear again about A.J. Brown when he was at his press conference today. He bitched and cried and moaned, got his money. Did he deserve it? Yeah, he did. It just didn't make any sense of paying a guy 2 years before you had to. That was and the way the season ended for him. I don't even think he had a 100-yard game in the last 6 weeks. Jason Cole will join us. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.